All right, it is 6:30. Good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. It is the last Friday of August, which is hard to believe. The kids are back in school and it's starting to feel a little bit like fall out there. So this week we did have a recordable injury. Just a reminder to everybody to strive to wear gloves as much as possible, even starting equipment or starting power tool or plate tamps and chainsaws and stuff like that can turn into a injury pretty quickly. So just be cognizant of that. Uh, Once again, 2 days without a first aid injury, and then we have 7 days without a vehicle incident. This week we're going to talk about PPE again. We talked about it fairly recently, but we've been really slipping on it, so we wanted to bring it back around for everybody's attention. Um, I want everybody to kind of think of their PPE as their uniform, right? So we kind of have a minimum standard for what our uniform is out there. So that's your hard hat, your high vis clothing, your eye protection, that sort of stuff. And it falls into the hierarchy controls, though. It's kind of at the bottom. It's kind of your last line of defense, right? But it's good to have a last line of defense, and sometimes it's a minimum standard for the job. Sometimes it's a minimum standard that we carry, but it's still really good to have that last line of defense. The first thing we want to do is try to eliminate any hazards. We want to swap them out for other hazards or substitute them out for other hazards. We want to implement engineering controls to isolate ourselves from any hazards that we might have. We want to implement administrative controls by changing how we do the work. And then, like I said, the PPE is going to be our final line of defense, but it's our minimum standard for keeping ourselves safe. Once again, this year we changed our hard hat policy. They're required to be worn at all times on all job sites and in all yards. You can only remove them when you're in trucks or equipment that has ROPS on it. And anything that falls outside of that needs to be approved by a field ops manager and Matt or myself. And we'll usually do that in cooperation with one another. Um, but it should be just under certain specific circumstances that that's occurring. High vis clothing. This is one that we've also been seeing a lot of people not wearing around. You're required to wear a minimum high visibility shirt on any ECI project. All right. If you're working in the railroad right away or you're working near a roadway, you have to wear a class two vest, which is a sleeveless vest, or class two shirt, which has the big thing is that they have the reflective stripes on them, right? If you're working at night or you're exposed to traffic that's 55 miles per hour or over, so any highways or anything like that, or high speed roads. Do we have any high speed roads in Vermont that are 55 that aren't divided? I don't believe we do. Well, maybe the Cirque and stuff. But we need to be wearing our class three vests, which are the ones with the sleeves. Once again, class three shirts do make the cut for that as long as they have the stripe on the sleeve. Um, so these should only be removed while in trucks or equipment with cabs. And this time of year, it gets tricky, right? Because you put them on over your sweatshirt in the morning, and then you take your sweatshirt off, and you don't put your vest back on. And that's really one of those places that we're getting ourselves right now. And there are absolutely no exemptions to these rules. Something else to keep in mind when it comes to high vis clothing and vests and stuff like that is your environment really matters. So we have the yellow uh, class three vests, and we have the orange ones. So that's not by mistake. We want people to be wearing the ones that are most applicable to standing out in their environment. So if they're out on the highway and there's a whole bunch of traffic barrels lined up and you're wearing an orange vest, you're probably going to blend in with those traffic barrels pretty well. If you're wearing a yellow vest, you're going to stand out a lot better. But if you're working out near the trees and stuff like that and vegetation, you're going to stand out a lot better wearing orange than you are with yellow. The other thing to keep in mind is we try to replace vests on people as they get dirty, but if you look at this picture, those vests are both good to go for now, but you can see that Jay's vest in this picture is good to go for a long time, and Jerry's vest is getting a little bit more worn, and maybe in a month or so after this picture, this vest needs to be replaced, maybe a little bit less than that. So we just need to be mindful that we're replacing these. It's not uncommon for us to see people out in the field where their Carhartt pants are brighter than their reflective vests are. So same thing if the reflective material starts peeling away or anything like that, we really need to be replacing them. So we need to be wearing eye protection when we're jackhammering, rivet busting, drilling, cutting, grinding, any hot work. Some of those do require face shields as well. If you're doing any torch work or anything like that, we really need to be wearing our Shade 5 glasses or welding helmets that are shaded down for that. And then anytime we're welding, we need to be wearing our full shade welding helmets. Once again, steel-toe boots are always a strong recommendation and are required in some fields of work. And we get our two allowances for them a year of $150 a piece. So let's utilize this program and make sure that as many people are wearing either steel or safety toe boots as possible. Once again, this is your last line of defense of safety, so let's try to make sure that we're sticking to it and abiding by the company uniform. Do you have anything to add?
No, that's good, Tom.
Yep, we got plenty. We got plenty in stock, right? Of
Yep.
vests, hard hats. I think you got some new hard hats now that have the I see that someone delivered one over here. I don't know if it's a sample or if we have them yet for the employee owner emblem. Are those new now, Matt, or are you guys still looking to get them?
Nope, we have 50 in stock currently of the new logo hard hats.
Yep. The vests always look good. It's part of our uniform out there. I remember when we started wearing them, we didn't used to have them. It always helped me when we had if I had a big crew to keep track of my crew, because we all kind of we had vests on. So especially when we're in the city and there's a lot of people around, it was easier for me as a foreman and a super to keep track of my guys a little bit, keep an eye on making sure everybody's safe. So
yeah. And one thing to add too is back to hard hats real quick is if you're working at heights or doing anything in a harness, you should strongly consider using the Type 2 hard hats, which are the ones with the chin straps. For confined space, we've also been promoting that very heavily to the fullest extent that we can. So
okay. All right. Can you hear me? Was I shut off? Yep. I don't know why I got shut off for a minute. Can you see me too?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. You got the screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So the code of conduct item of the week is maintain cleanliness and condition of your vehicles and our vehicles and equipment. My philosophy on that is taking care of our tools and assets ensures readiness. And it also signifies our professionalism, our pride in what we do, and our attention to detail. So when we have good looking stuff out there, it sets the tone for who we are and what we do. Area schools, we ran this again this week because the schools are all actually as of this week, they're probably in full session. Slow down, be careful on the roads, watch out. It's going to be different with all the buses out there now and the kids hanging out next to the roads. So take extra care when you're out there on the roads, please. And some good news, we've got a paid holiday coming up on Monday, the 1st. So it's Labor Day. We're going to be closed. I hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable weekend. And make sure next week that you don't forget to put your holiday time in for Monday. So I have instructions here on how to do that in case anyone cares to go back to the email and get it in there right. And then of course we can always help you do it if you're not used to it, and especially the new people. So that's in the email. Some good news, our 2024 profit sharing has been distributed. It should be in your account as of, I think, 2 days ago. It was a little bit getting it all, being the new ESOP and everything. We had to divide our year up a little bit different and figure everything out. And they've got all the calculations were done and proofed, and I signed the thing on Monday to have it all put in the accounts. I verified mine. Several people have verified, but if you are able to get into your census 401k account, you will see that there should be an added entry in there for profit sharing for 2024. It should be about the same amount that you would have got all last year in your safe harbor. It's about 3% of your gross that you made in 2024. So if you take whatever you made for the year and multiply it by 0.03, that's what you got. So it's about $300 for each $10,000 that you made. It's plus or minus a little bit because it had to be fine tuned, but that'll go into your profit sharing within your 401k. So that's pretty cool. So we got a bonus a couple of weeks ago, and this week we should have an added 2024 profit sharing distribution in our accounts. If you have any problems or issues trying to figure out how to get into that account, it's a good idea to do it. Contact Erin, and she can help you. She can actually probably see what your balance is and verify that it went in there, but also she can help you get into your account. So that's good news. Anybody happy about that? Matt Orzalak was, I thought Matt was going to give me his cheer that he gives. Too early. Ownership tips. Okay, remember this weekend is a holiday weekend. I believe this, Matt, is one of those weekends that we get hit for theft and damaged.
Yes.
For some reason, people have more time on these weekends. We've had our pickup trucks stolen and burned. We've had compactors taken, cut-off saws, generators, skill saws.
We've had equipment demolition derby in the pits before.
Yep.
Don't leave the keys in the equipment.
Yeah, lock up the trailers. Sometimes we can park some of the guys park the equipment up to the back of the trailer. I don't know if it helps or not, if people all have keys, but do your best to kind of keep everything secure for the long weekend. Next week, we have a DOT audit. We're going to have an on-site person here from the Department of Transportation. They're going to be going through our records and looking to make sure we maintain everything properly and make sure that we're taking care of any issues that we have out on the roads, but also they'll be on site probably starting Wednesday. I believe it'll just be one officer, but they may happen to go out in the yard, right? I don't know, Matt. The last time we had one of these was in 2009, and I remember they were on site.
Yeah.
A lot of it's regarding our tracking. They're going to be actually probably looking at our Fleetio system too, because that's the way we put things in there. So that's how we get data back out for them. So it all ties together. Just be safe out there. I'm not going to read through this document, but I put it in here. You got an email yesterday, but it basically is a summary of best practices for our vehicles. Anything to add on this, Matt? I didn't intend
let's
to.
make sure we're doing really good pre-trips, work with the shop. If there's issues, low-hanging fruit, lights, trailer lights on the quarry trailers, things like that.
Yeah.
Just let them know so we can get it fixed.
And I was
keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tom.
Keep an eye out for communication from anybody from the shop or the office, especially today and Tuesday. If we're looking for any information from you, any documentation or anything like that, if we can get that back in a timely manner, that helps us significantly as well.
Yeah, it's a good time for us to educate ourselves about our vehicles. If you read through this, you'll see that if the GVW on if the gross weight registered on your trailer or the builder's plate is 99.99, then we don't add that to the weight of the vehicle. But read through this. It explains it all. It'll be a good chance for us all to educate ourselves about what we have and what we do. So Ben McKinney actually put this document together for us and sent it out yesterday. I pasted it in here so that we could all just have it as a record and review it before Tuesday before we get going on Tuesday would be great for everybody. We got 2 more new employees this week.
Yeah,
Henry
Ben
Barrett.
also,
Yeah, go ahead.
there will be some out of service tags put on some of the equipment that we do not want moved at all. So if it has an out of service tag on the door handle or the keys are missing, check with us.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Pat.
you.
Pat, do you have anything else to add for next week?
No,
Okay,
We'll
sorry I
just
didn't
take
ask
a-
you.
no, that's fine. Thanks.
Yep. So let's take a little extra care next week, because whenever the feds come in to look at us, they're always looking for everything. If we get asked any questions, I always have to practice this. Don't elaborate, just answer the questions. I learned that a few years back in I had to do some stuff with the DOT with a buddy of mine with the FAA, and I learned that you don't volunteer more information to them, but be polite and respectful and answer the questions. New employees: Henry Barrett, bridge worker. He started Monday, and also Isaac Baker. Welcome, guys. We made it change. I was talking to Elena yesterday about this, and we've made a change on the Family Fun Day. It's going to be on October 11th, which was going to be our rain date, but we moved it because it was discovered. Elena discovered that there was a weekend shutdown that it was in conflict with. And actually, a lot of the guys on the shutdown probably were some of the ones that we wanted to participate and be there. So I've got Elena's flyer here, and I have some information. You know, the fun day is going to be Saturday, October 11th from 1 to 3. It's going to be up at the Bushy Pit. If you don't know where that is, we can help you figure it out. If you have a significant other, grandchild, child, you need to fill out a form. And I actually have a link here. You probably got an email from Elena already, but if you click this link right here, it'll bring you. I know Elena's on, so she's not happy that I got it to work, but there it is. And you go down through and answer the questions and submit it. Anything to add, Elena? I got some bullet points down here. Hold on. Now I got to figure out how to make this go away again. It's for ECI employees only. Their significant other, children and grandchildren only. It's meant to be an ECI function. Please try to register by September 5th. If you have any problems registering and you can't get that link click, Elena's contact info is above and she'll help you get it done. They're also looking for a few people with some more general needs to help out with the functions. So if you're interested to help, reach out to Elena, please. Okay. Project of the week. Cody, are you on?
Yep, I am.
So we've been holding this one back until we got it done. This was one of those quick projects that you take the bridge out, demo it, put a new one in, and get it open in so many days. So I'm going to let Cody talk about the Jericho Bridge replacement project that they just recently completed. And I can drive if you want.
Yeah, that's
Cody?
fine.
Okay.
Yep. So in December of 2024, V-Train's contract with ECI to replace an aging concrete T-beam bridge on Browns Trace Road in Jericho. The project was to be completed during a 45-day bridge closure period, and V-Trans would only allow us to work up to 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after the bridge closure period, which meant most of the work needed to be completed during the actual closure itself.
Yeah.
The closure period had a financial disincentive period attached to it, which meant that the team could earn a bonus for completing the project early, but we could also be severely penalized if we opened it late.
Wow. Did we get the
So it's
bonus, or do you tell us later?
It's a secret until later.
And that's the old
I'm ruining the
boy.
surprise.
Okay.
So it's the picture. This is a picture of the existing bridge that we were to replace.
Yep.
So ECI mobilized to the site in late June, installing erosion measures and building staging areas to prepare for the bridge closure. ECI closed the road on Monday, July 7th, and ECI crews started the project by working 24/7 the first week to get a head start on it.
Wow.
So this is the first day. We're saw cutting the beams, separating them. The guys had cored holes in the deck ahead of time to so we could put the rigging down through and lift out the beams.
Holy cow, that's a big structure.
Yep. And so then once we hooked the crane up, then we had a couple hammers there so we could demo the ends where the beams were attached to the back wall and pull the anchor bolts out.
Yep,
And then
I see they got the first one, they got the chains all slung on it and everything, so when they cut it loose, they can pick it out, huh?
Yep.
Is that that's the crane hooked onto it, yeah,
Yep.
cool. Oh, wow,
And yep, then we picked them off and set them off to the side so get them right out of the way, and we could jackhammer up the beams later and load them out. So it was out of the way of the bridge.
I remember going up there and seeing a huge pile of concrete, rubble and
Yeah.
rebar.
Oh yeah. And this
Cool.
is just an action shot of I think this is the first night we were digging the abutment spout and loading them out. So
Kind of nice being on a project that's not in the middle of the city.
so by the end of day 2, the old bridge had been completely removed and crews began setting up for the pile driving. ECI rented a larger diesel hammer due to the suspected hard driving conditions indicated on the soil borings. It also allowed us to be driving piles on both abutments at the same time to help maximize the schedule. So here's an
Wow.
action shot of both diesel hammers stood up and hammering.
Did you guys do all those piles in that day? Look how small the people are compared to those piles. Wow.
No, it
Those
took
went in
us,
good.
I think it was 3 days of
3
pile
days?
driving. Yeah,
Wow.
days and nights.
Having the guys in there really shows you the scale of those piles.
Yeah. So after the piles were driven to refusal and cut off, ECI's concrete crews moved in and started forming the abutments. Crews worked all weekend forming and installing rebar to keep up the fast pace. And so this
Oh,
was
wow. That's
the
so
piles
cool.
that cut off,
Yep.
and we poured a little mud slab here on the abutment. This is abutment 2
That makes it
to form from.
nice for the guys to put the form. Oh, yep. Nice to put the forms on. And there's the piles down behind the
Yep.
rebar. Oh yeah. It's all coated.
All epoxy bar on the abutments. Almost got it closed in on abutment 1 here.
Yeah.
On abutment 2, there's Jake and Marty cleaning up or getting ready to close up the last bit of abutment 2. But on abutment 2, we had this precast retaining wall. It was the only one of the 4 corners had this wall system here. So these were precast cantilever wing wall sections that we bolted together, and we had to form and pour up to it on in one corner. So it was a little bit of a unique situation on this one side, but it went together pretty well.
Then they have to what do they do with those connection points? It looks like they just mortar them in.
Yeah, we grouted them in. Yep.
Grout them.
Yep. So once the abutment had been poured and cured, stripped and backfilled, we ECI set the new precast solid beams on the abutments. There were a total of 7 beams, each weighing about 30 tons apiece.
Holy cow. There comes one.
Yep.
So those
They were a
beams
little.
line up and then you have closure pours in between, right?
Yep.
That makes for a fast bridge going in, doesn't it?
Certainly does. So yeah, so after the beams were set, ECI began forming the closure pours between the beams. This required some in-house ingenuity by the concrete team. We used a clever form hanging system, which meant that there was no holes to patch on the top side of the deck. There was no bracing to trip over during the closure pour itself. The closure pour used rapid set concrete mix, which achieved 5,000 PSI in 2 days.
Wow.
So you can kind of see well, it's a little hard to see, but basically the coil rods go in from the bottom there, and
Yep.
there was a bracing on all underneath basically to hang that system and help suck the
That-
forms up to the bottom.
That's awesome.
And we were able to use a man lift, get right in under there, and didn't have to have any elaborate scaffolding or anything in the bottom, the river there.
Nice.
This is just a shot kind of looking down. It's hard to see the
There's the
hangers,
plywood.
but
Yep.
we had threw in some extra bar there, and no, it was a really ingenious idea, and I think it worked really well because it just made the top of the deck that much cleaner.
Yeah.
More accessible. And here's the actual day of the closure pour. You know, we poured it with crane and bucket, but it was it was definitely a sticky mix. So it was a hard mix to get in the hole, and then struck off. And
Yeah.
so after the rapid set was poured, ECI still had 4 more concrete pours to go: the approach slabs, the cheek walls, the bridge curb, and the approach curb. This proved to be an extremely challenging since each pour was directly up against one another, and VTrans wanted to ensure that the wet cure was maintained throughout each one. So here the guys are finishing the approach slabs, and you can
Yep.
just see how close the cheek walls are. And then there's
Yeah.
the bridge curb beyond, and just
Yep.
everything was so tight. It just made for a really, really challenging site
Yeah.
just to get all of the different pours in place. And
Wow.
once the concrete was cured, the approaches were paved and the bridge rail was installed. Crews also finished all of the stone-filled ditches and restored all the shoulders. I mean, just there was a lot of stuff going on. There's wet cure going on the curbs. We're forming the approach slabs or the approach curbs. This was the day they were paving. The guys were paving the base course lifts. We put a little temporary fillet in there to get up onto the bridge deck itself.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah. Right.
Starts
Yep.
to look like a real job site once the base course asphalt's laid
Oops.
down.
Hold on, let me go up to that picture. That's a nice looking mat right there. Yep. Nice.
So crews opened the road on Friday, August 15th at 7 a.m. This date and time was significant since it was the earliest possible date to open the road to maximize the closure period incentive. So ECI will receive an extra bonus from VTrans due to the hard work and dedication of multiple ECI employee owners.
That's awesome. Money in our future pockets, right? Money in our
Yep.
pockets.
Absolutely. And since I wrote this a couple days ago, but since then, all we have left is line striping and a couple little final touches. So job's pretty well complete now.
Oh, thanks to everyone who worked on this. There was a lot of different disciplines here. That's where we do well. When we work as a team on these multi-discipline jobs, you had concrete, you got the guys with the big cranes and the piles and working in a stream, right down to the paving and finishing work. You already have grass growing. So, and that,
Grass
how many
grows
days
there better than at my house.
how many days was it total? 45?
We had 45. We did it in 39.
Yeah. Good job. Well, thanks guys. Thanks, Cody. That was awesome. Yeah, I put this in there. 20th anniversary of Katrina. That was the picture of Katrina back in 05. We didn't really get nailed too bad with that one. That was mostly down south. There's New Orleans. A lot of us we dodged a bullet on that one. But that was 20 years ago, yesterday and today. Just a few pictures from those times. But then on the same date in 2011, we got hit by Irene. So it was really interesting. Right around this is hurricane season, and that was in 11. I think that was actually the first year that Tom Lawyer came to work here, because we all disappeared when this one hit. This was a picture I took my airplane and went up and took some shots. There's the VTR down there, the railroad. You can see it's all flooded. There's Bridge 114 in Chester when we responded to that. And again, this is in 2011, right around this time. Probably on this, within a day or two of today. And that's what we started with. But there's a bridge back in place with the bridge crew. There's a lot of pictures in between, but I was trying to figure out how I could tie in that hurricane date, and I was able to find this picture. So good job, everybody. We're finished on target at 7 o'clock. Matt, turn it over to you.
Yep, thanks everybody. Great presentation, everybody. Let's be safe today. Let's have a great day. If you're watching a group setting, please send that over to Tom or myself so you can capture it.
Yep, make sure we're locking up all our sites really tight. And if you get any correspondence, please answer quickly if it pertains to the audit. Thank you.
Yep, and thanks again, Cody, for preparing the project of the week. We appreciate it. Bye, everybody.